So, as you said, my name is Caren. I'm the deputy chair of the German Left Party, and our party was founded in 2007. But now, in the last couple of years, we managed to become the largest opposition party in our country. We are the strongest opposition party, even ahead of the Greens, and we are gaining approximately 10% of the votes. We were very successful in the last elections. We won 2 elections in two major northern German cities, in Hamburg and in Bremen. And also we succeeded to becoming the leading party and becoming the prime minister in a county which is called Thuringia. So this was really a success, a great success of the German left. So our party is a very important corrective to the politics of Germany. And as you said, our Chancellor Angela Merkel, she is one of the main champions of the austerity agenda, which she implements not only in Germany, but all over Europe. We oppose welfare cuts, privatization, deregulation, wage dumping, and precarious unemployment politics. But exactly these neoliberal politics started 12 years ago in Germany. They led to wage decreases, to fall in domestic demand, and then in turn this created substantial export surpluses and trade imbalances. And we say that precisely this low wage politics was it which ruined the economies in other European countries. So if we are discussing alternatives to austerity, one of the main questions would be which is the cause for this economic crisis Europe is suffering now. And we say it's not a debt crisis, it's a crisis of economy, and in the heart of all the evil is the low wage politics, which in Germany tragically is the leading exponent. So cuts and costs is the German government's watchword and its #1 priority. So in our opinion, it's not the Greeks or the Spains or the Italians who pose the main threat to the Eurozone and to Europe as a whole, but the mainstream of German politics is in favor on these things. So, as you said, in fact, there is a continued bashing of Greeks, especially by the Conservative Party. The leader of the Conservative Party in the parliament, he even said, "Now Europe is speaking German," which reawakens some very bad memories. And also the Bild newspaper, which is the biggest tabloid newspaper, is always targeting campaigns and racist slurs against the Greeks. So some of you might perhaps ask, but isn't there any success of austerity politics? And isn't Germany the country which really made it good through the economic crisis? That's what our Chancellor, for example, says. She says, yes, we Germany, we are so successful in coming through this crisis because of our austerity politics. But I think if we have a look to the facts, we can say that this is not the truth. It's not the truth for Europe, and it's also not the truth for the majority of German people. So let's have a look on the results of this austerity politics. We can witness, for example, youth unemployment in a really great amount. We see the rise in the number of homeless people, for example in Spain, but in many other European countries. In a lot of countries there is economical stagnation, for example in our rich neighbors France. But also Germany, where people say, well, you made it somehow good through this crisis, you can see that this is not the fact for the majority of people. So we don't have any increase in wages, for example. And so I think that there, in other words, the outcome is the exact opposite of what austerity was supposed to achieve. We say as the German left that Greece and therefore the Eurozone as a whole will never achieve stability as long as Germany continues with this kind of politics of austerity, of privatization, and of low-wage politics. What we need instead is, for example, public investment programs. So this is the only way to generate enough demand to stimulate the European economy and to reduce the deficit, the deficits. There are some good news. One of the good news is, for example, that we do have increasing strikes in our country. For example, there is a strike of kindergarten teachers, there is the strike of train drivers and of postal workers. And this is, in practice, practical solidarity of Germany with Greece, because we say this German low-wage politics is in the heart, the cause of the European economic crisis, and that's one of the main reasons why we, of course, support the strike of all these people. So, what has to be done instead? Which are our proposals for alternative politics? I said we need more public investment, but of course we also need a debt haircut for Greece at last. This is the only way to ensure that Greece can exercise its sovereign right to make its own decisions instead of constantly being blackmailed by the institutions. The Greek finance minister, Yanis Varoufakis, he argues that with a haircut, for example, with a debt haircut, his country would be able to implement reforms by its own efforts without taking on new debt. And what we also need, I think, is a European debt conference, because it's not only Greece, but it's even many other European countries struggle under the debt burden. Our answer against austerity politics, as well as public investment program of Europe. And I think the central question is, who is going to pay for this public investment? We say that this program should be funded by a millionaire tax or a European wealth tax, because it is time that those who profited from the crisis are made to pay, and that includes countless German, Greek, other European millionaires, and no longer that workers, pensioners, and unemployed have to take the burden. So this has been a lot of bad news from Europe, especially from Germany, which has been called in the morning by Albert as the belly of the beast. But there are good news, and the good news is there is a growing opposition and resistance against austerity politics, and we as the left-wing party are proud to be part of this resistance. Witness a shift in hegemony. The Green Party, for example, they always were contributing to austerity politics, but now since Syriza is in government, they are changing their minds. Or if you would have a look into, for example, left liberal newspapers, they sympathize with Syriza, they doubt in the politics, or start doubting in the politics of Angela Merkel. And for example, the Greek finance minister, Yanis Varoufakis, he became a really pop star even for German youngsters. So one of the main reasons is that Syriza won the election victory, and this symbolizes a radical shift in Europe away from the absurd politics to which there is supposedly no alternative. It symbolizes a radical shift towards social justice and the end of the politics of blackmail. So your election success has done much to stimulate the debate about the future of Europe, especially in Germany, the motherland of austerity politics, but as you know, also in many other Northern European countries. More and more people sympathize with our positions, also with Syriza's positions. And one of the good news as well is that there have been tens and thousands of demonstrators who took part in the Blockupy protests during the inauguration of the headquarters of the European Central Park in Frankfurt, which was one of the main symbols of the resistance against austerity, and it has been a great success that 10,000 of people came to this demonstration. I think to shift hegemony completely, our task is so easy and yet so hard to succeed at the same time. I think it's to argue that the economic crisis, it's not a problem between Greece and Germany or between France and Spain, but it's still a question, if workers, pensioners and unemployed have to pay, or if it's millionaires and private banks which have to pay for this crisis. So it's still a question if we have a racist explanation for the crisis, or if there is a socialist and solidaric alternative, and I think there is an alternative.